Welcome, everybody, to Movies, Comics, Ultimate, the MCU Podcast, with your hosts, Chris, RolloT, and...
I'm Brandon, also known as Fragger. Woo!
You can give your last name. How are people supposed to stalk you like that?
It's already pretty easy.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll just type you up into yellowpages.com. Be like, where does Fragger live? And it'll like pop up with the picture of your house and then directions on how to not get there.
And it's like a Google Maps picture of me just flipping off the camera.
Yeah. Just like, they caught you at an inappropriate time. I mean, look, a dog's pooping on your lawn. How apropos.
Then it's an old ass picture.
Someone else's dog's pooping on your lawn, I mean. Like someone with like a giant husky.
Curses. So it's been 5 seconds? We're already going off on tangents. Cool.
That's how podcasts generally work.
Yes.
I don't know if you've been in the
I've run a few.
All right.
You've been doing them for longer. I think I've done like more individual ones that don't go past like 10.
Oh, really?
I think I'm on like 6.
All right. You think you've done 6 podcasts? That's been more than what I've done?
What are you on, like 4, 5?
Are you talking about concurrently or all time?
Then I lose because I can hear the tone of your voice.
I was going to say, because I've been a part of quite a few podcasts in my time there.
Well, I was going to say, I've personally run about 6.
Let's see. I guess it's actually probably getting more off topic at this point. Although off topic was one I hosted at.
Speaking of. So we're here to talk about some MCU stuff. This is pretty much what we're going to be talking about here and there. Other Marvel properties and probably a segment we're going to call How is DC Fucking Up Now?
Which just every week seems to give us a little bit more. Now, to be fair, I don't want to seem like, complete anti-DC fanboy.
Which I'm not.
I do admit I like Marvel stuff better, but for a very long time, DC heroes were the only one I cared about because they were the ones that had the superior media presence. I mean, this is before Iron Man or any of those movies came out, when the Justice League Unlimited and Justice League cartoons were incredible. Static Shock was great. The Batman Begins series movies were starting. DC had a while where they were the best. It's just their recent reboots and things, they haven't been flowing.
Pretty much everything post New 52.
I hear the animated movies are great. I haven't had time to watch a lot of them.
I pretty much keep track on most of those. Pretty much most of them post Red Hood and some of the stuff before that. Other than what I've heard is atrocious Son of Batman, which I kind of need to watch now.
But yeah, no, this is a podcast about Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As some of you may have heard of it, it's the MCU. Basically, any movie done by Marvel Studios. Started with Iron Man back in 2008, I think it was.
Long fucking time ago, it feels.
Yeah, gone all the way through and leading up to the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers 2, and then the movies that'll exist then beyond that in Phase 3 and beyond. Producer Kevin, what is it, Feige? Kevin Feige has already stated there's plans for this universe to exist at least until 2028. So we have got a long, long while of these movies existing, presuming they don't immediately just start bombing left and right, which
it'll take about 3 in a row at this point to kill the MCU.
It might take longer than that. It might take not only bombs, but then the only things left are just completely unknown franchises. Because as it is now, I mean, they're making shit tons of money off of Thor. And if you ask somebody before Iron Man came out, they're like, look, we're going to put out Thor. And you're going to be like, good luck recouping that cost.
Have fun with that. Everyone's flipping them off.
Yeah, and now they're riding a rocket, a $600 million rocket ship past them. Like, screw you guys, Thor did it.
And the other things included in the MCU are Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the upcoming Defenders shows.
Yes,
they're going to be on Netflix, which I am fucking excited for those. And I had a very long talk with a friend of mine last night about how they could very easily toss the Punisher into that too.
Oh, yeah, because they had the right setback. Now, did you listen to Kevin Smith has a podcast, Fat Man on Batman?
I don't.
Okay. Well, he recently just had an episode with Joe Quesada. Quesada? Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know
How
how.
the hell am I better at pronouncing things? This is
I'm
weird.
look. I fucking do a podcast on manga each week. I barely learn how to say the names there. It just screwed up my lexicon.
Well, yeah, that's the
Else.
problem is that you're used to pronouncing things from Japan, so
Yeah, I'm like
you're looking at
Sosuke Kakashi, and it's like fucking like, is that Smythe? How does Kevin
I-
Smythe has a podcast?
Tor.
Yeah, who's Tor? But anyway, if you get a chance to listen to it, it's Joe Quesada Part 2. And in it, he talks a bit about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, particularly towards the end of it. He talks about, because the whole podcast is basically about Captain America. It's like one of the few Batman on Batmans that has nothing to do with Batman. And it's a great episode if you just like listening to Marvel Cinematic Universe. But at the end, he talks about the Defenders series and these Netflix series, and he confirms they are going to exist within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the thing he's really excited about is how it's going to be a completely different feel to anything that the movies have, in terms of these are all going to be very street level heroes fighting these kinds of street level crime. It's going to be kind of noir in a way. They're going to be
That's Daredevil in a nutshell's door.
yeah, and they're going to be getting it as they're filming in parts of New York that heavily resemble what Hell's Kitchen would be back in the times those existed. So he's really excited about that, how it's going to have that New York feel. So they're going for what it sounds like a very traditional, close, tight relationship with the comics themselves. And the only thing he wouldn't confirm if Kingpin's the villain, he was sharp enough not to reveal anything about the main villain. But from what I understand, Kingpin's in like a weird state where both Marvel and DC or
Kind of
Fox
like Quicksilver
or
and
Sony.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how it works. From what Kevin Feige said, he's like, we kind of have the rights to him. So
They're like leasing them.
yeah. So well, yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm very excited for those. It's gonna pretty much get me to get that Netflix subscription right back up and running, because those are Daredevil. I really want to see again because I think Daredevil's a cool hero.
He's a great character that unfortunately was done.
I mean, like everyone's introduction to him was the Ben Affleck movie.
Well, I always have a problem saying it's a bad movie because part of the reason that it's a bad movie is because of the cut that Fox forced.
Mm-hmm.
The director's cut of Daredevil isn't bad. It's like if let's say Daredevil was like a 4 out of 10, the director's cut's like a 6.
Okay. Well, I mean, I haven't seen it, and it's been a long time. I think I enjoyed it as a kid for the most part. I wasn't like this was awful.
Like the fact Coolio was in it.
Yeah, I forgot that part. You had to bring that up.
Well, no. He's only in the director's cut.
Oh, is he?
Yes, because the whole one of the big problems that a lot of people had with the Daredevil, mine included, is that he's not really a lawyer, and that's what he is. He's a lawyer.
Yeah.
And so he has a case where he's defending somebody, and he's defending Coolio, who he is innocent. And so there's a case going on throughout the entire movie. And it's got some nice subtext to it going on, and they actually flip a few things. He doesn't actually have a sex scene in the movie now. So they actually mix around a whole bunch of stuff, and it makes the movie a lot stronger. It still has really crappy CG, but that can't really be helped.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a decent movie at the time, and I'd love to see them kind of take that character and give him a new kind of look in this universe.
Well, if they're going based on the whole 70s feel, noir feel, and probably heavily going on the Man Without Fear line, which was one of the few things that Frank Miller wrote before he became completely insane. And it was rad. And to be fair, Frank Miller is the guy who made Daredevil the awesome character that he is today.
Yeah.
So kind of like how Garth, was it Garth Ennis that did Punisher? Where he made it super also. And I'm really pumped to see those two things because, fun fact for everyone who knows those characters, Punisher does operate in the same basic area that Daredevil does.
And all these characters are basically going to exist in the same area, and you kind of confirm that all of them could show up in each other's. And the effects of these or this TV show can have effects on the movies, as we've sort of seen that relationship sort of take more of a place with the recent Captain America. Now it's completely changed everything within the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show.
And let's be clear about that. It affects S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't having the opposite effect, which is kind of unfortunate.
It may, though. That's something that may come up based on what happens with S.H.I.E.L.D., depending on how the season ends. Maybe that's something that does influence the next movies. I mean,
Ultron, yeah.
It's pretty likely that Kevin Smith, Samuel L. Jackson is going to show up in the next Avengers movie.
Yes.
To what capacity he has any influence in it, though, remains to be seen.
And they've already said that Sam Jackson's going to appear in the final episode of the season.
Yeah, so there may be something there. Now, I don't see Coulson ever reappearing, just
They
because.
kind of made it clear this week.
Yeah. Also, I just imagine even if they did try to like get him into the show, uh, or into the movies, it just wouldn't work because Agents of Shield doesn't air outside of the U.S. really. So all those worldwide markets are gonna be like, well, why the fuck is Coulson back? What
It
happened?
got better.
Yeah, so nobody's really gonna grasp it from there. So I don't see him appearing, but seeing even like a cameo from somebody like, Sky or something like that in there isn't impossible.
The least liked character.
I like Sky.
Well, I mean, like, fan-wise, Sky's like one of the least liked. I liked her a lot more this week.
I like Sky. She's amusing. She's entertained. She was a little bit annoying at the start, but come on, everything was annoying at the start of Agents of Shield.
Yes, we'll eventually get into Shield, and we're probably going to end this by talking a little bit about this week's episode, which happened 29 minutes ago, at the moment of me saying that sentence. But yeah, so what else do we want to talk about with the MCU as of current before we dig into maybe some history and whatnot?
All right. Well, as it is right now, we are in the middle of Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe plan. The only movies left, though, in Phase 2 are going to be Guardians of the Galaxy, which comes out in about 3 months, little 3.5, about that.
I think it's a bit under 100 days.
Yeah, so we're getting really close to that, and I'm getting more and more excited, which is weird because I wasn't really all that crazy about it, but the more and more I see and hear about it, without like kind of getting into anything that would spoil it or anything like that, It just has me more excited. Like when I hear about Chris Pratt getting into the role and everything like that, find out how big of a comics fan he was and how like he's kind of really embracing, getting into shape for the role and how excited he is to like, he did all of his workouts listening to 80s music to just kind of help himself capture that character a little bit more. I'm really excited to see what he can do.
Also, hearing there was a really great podcast where right after the trailer came out that James Gunn was on, and he talked at length about how he got the role to be the director of it. And that was really cool. Do you want me to dig into that a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
Listen to that podcast?
No, what podcast is this?
I can't remember the top of my head, unfortunately.
You suck.
It's the guy from...
I made a pull of Fat Man on Batman in like 2 seconds. You can't remember this?
Well, because I only listened to 2 podcasts, and I only listened to it because of James Gunn. Oh, okay. So, and I know it's the guy from X-Play. His
Adam Sessler?
No.
Oh, fuck, the newer guys. Kevin...
Yeah, him. The guy who's pretty funny.
Ferreira, is that it?
Yeah, I think it is Ferreira.
Okay, there we go.
It's his podcast, and James Gunn was on that, and he talks about how he was pretty much ready to quit directing. Like he was just done because he's directed a few movies before this. He did Slither, Super. He also did an awesome web series which I highly recommend called PG Porn, which is fucking hilarious. And he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna go do some TV or do whatever. And it said like the next day Marvel called and said, hey, we'd like to have a meeting with you. And he's like, okay. So he went down. He pitched a few things. He said, hey, we want you to do Guardians. And he's like, huh, I gotta go think about that. And he's like, so as a band who loves raccoons, I get to go shoot a movie about one. And
I like that Marvel takes those sort of risks where they're like, let's go with something a little bit, not unorthodox, but not like the traditional safe approach. I mean, they've picked such a great collection of directors, especially recently. The Russo brothers, came from Community. These guys didn't have like a huge movie assortment of them, and they created what is, arguably one of the best Marvel movies to date. They got Edgar Wright on the helm for Ant-Man.
Very close to being the best solo film.
I honestly, the more I think about it, I think it's tough to compare it in certain ways. Like Iron Man, I think is a better, like more entertaining, like fun movie. But Captain America, I think, shows or is stronger as a comic book movie for what it could be. Like it goes beyond just being a comic book movie and comes a little bit more. They both have it's tough, but no, I mean like just the directors we have with Edgar Wright and James Gunn and Josh Whedon directing the Avengers movies and all these different people coming in. Shane Black sucked, but we kind of every so often there's a little bit of a miss, and you kind of have to roll with the punches on that.
And the funny thing is that Edgar Wright's a bit, I would say I wouldn't say a safer, but more of that kind of makes sense because his movies, are very like, here's some comedy, here's some action. He shoots action really well.
Oh yeah, but he
Like,
just seems like such a like. They're not going with like a Michael Bay
yes. But I was
or
gonna say
someone.
James Gunn is completely out there. He shoots like hard R insane things.
Yeah. So I
Like
mean,
Slither and Super are nowhere near doing Marvel's version of Star Wars.
yeah, they're going with these properties that are very unique too, and that's what's kind of opening up the door as we approach Comic Con in early July, as everyone's starting to think, what's Marvel going to do in Phase Three? Because we know a few things about Phase Three. We know it starts with Ant-Man.
It's gonna have Cap 3.
It comes out like a month after Avengers 2, Ant-Man. Then Cap 3 is May 6th, same date as Batman versus Superman.
That's gonna be fun.
And then we know there's an Avengers 3. Now,
Yes.
it's a pretty safe lock there's going to be a Thor 3 as well. It's not been confirmed, but that seems pretty likely. But then that's basically 2 to 3 movies where people are kind of like, what's going to go in those spots? And it seems like there probably won't be an Iron Man 4 in there.
Because they can't extend Robert Downey Jr.'s contract, and his contract, if they don't do another Iron Man, ends with Avengers 3.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like he sounds like he's pretty much like not done with the role, but he doesn't want to keep like
he doesn't want to beat it to death.
Yeah, I think he's to a point now where he's just like, oh, look, I'm getting kind of old. Maybe we need to pull this one back. So there's room for new IPs. I mean, technically, we could also see a Guardians of the Galaxy too, but I think they're going to hold off on that until after Avengers 3.
I want to get into a bit of what they're building up to in the MCU about there being a Guardians 2, because from those of us who know what's going on, they're building up to Thanos.
Yes.
And Thanos is a cosmic villain. Mm-hmm. And he's not going to be in Avengers Age of Ultron. He's not going to be that big. If he's there, he's going to be in the background.
Yeah.
Maybe influencing a thing
cameo or something like that. He may have a little bit of a larger role than he had in the first one, where he was just the after credits thing.
Where he ended up being the man behind the scenes of the whole thing.
Yeah, but I don't think we'll see that necessarily in Avengers Age of Ultron. He may be kind of behind it, but I don't think so. I think Age of Ultron is going to be them creating their own enemy this time around.
Yes, but we won't know about that until Guardians, because they pretty much said that he's going to be in Guardians, and they've cast somebody to be Thanos. Now, moving from that, the only real way, if they're going to do Ant-Man, Cap, possibly Thor, to introduce more things about Thanos, or to build up the Infinity Stones, I almost said gems, would be another Guardians, because Guardians is kind of perfect for that.
I think, though, what they've said is that Guardians of the Galaxy is going to lead into Avengers 3. Like, it's going to place the groundwork there to set up Thanos for when Thanos gets into Avengers.
Yeah, there's going to be some groundwork in there, but they can't do too much, because that's a long time to ask people to remember things.
But I think at the same time, I don't think they're opening it with the notion that there's going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy 2, because Marvel is aware this is a risky movie. This isn't an IP that basically
And that's why I'm kind of thinking that's why, based on how well Guardians does, is what's going to happen with Thor. Because since Thor acts in the same universe, he can still influence stuff with Thanos fairly easily.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. Because basically, the two biggest, we have two, the stones at this point. We know of the Power Stone that was the Aether in Thor 2, and the Tesseract as the Minds, or the Soul Stone.
It's either Soul or Mind. I believe it's Soul.
So, and that came from, it was heavy in Avengers, showed up in Captain America, but these stones kind of exist, and the Tesseract right now is being housed in Asgard. So they're heavy Thor influences in that. So a Thor 3 can definitely extend into that. I hear a lot of people are wishing right now to get a Miss Marvel / Captain Marvel movie, because that would also explore the cosmic side of things.
That would also do cosmic fairly well. You could also toss the Kree into that.
Yeah,
and they're also very heavily asked for, because the Kree are very interesting.
And this would be the first female lead superhero movie from either of the two big companies at this point. If
Mm-hmm.
they could get that out there. So like that's the one I want more than anything else. Like right now the growing theory is that we're going to get a Doctor Strange movie because Doctor Strange they've been talking about it a lot and they're looking at directors.
There's still the thing going around where they say they're very stagey about magic.
Yeah. Well, the way I've heard it explained from what Kevin how do you Feige explained it. You played BioShock Infinite, right?
No.
Okay.
I
That
played
makes
a
it a
little
little bit
bit of
hard.
it.
But anyway, in that game, Elizabeth has powers that basically influence quantum physics, the manipulation of
Yes.
it to do times time pulls, things like that. That's how Kevin Feige is. I think he's going to use magic in that universe. It's not magic; it's highly advanced quantum physics. So a very high level advanced sort of science to it, because that's what they've been trying to do with everything.
I can see that, but with Doc,
I like that. I like that it's something just that I like that all these Marvel movies have existed in a world where you're like, look, this is silly. There's a guy who grows into a giant Hulk monster. There's a man who makes a suit that he has all these missiles and he can control with his mind and all that. But they still ground it with enough realism that you're like, this world could exist. And we found that that's been the formula for success for a lot of these movies as of recently. That's all start with Batman when everyone was like, this Batman's so gritty and realistic, any of us could be Batman. I think Marvel really jumped into that feeling with their movies. So I feel like this is a good way for them to kind of continue that trend because they explained away the gods of Asgard as just being highly advanced aliens with super high technology that made them seem like gods. So I could see them doing the same thing with Doctor Strange, where like it looks like magic to us, but what he's really doing is high level quantum physics. And when you think about it, magic has to generally have some basis even in the comics as well.
well, I understand that. It's just the fact that he's the magician.
Yeah.
That's where it kind of makes me kind of go, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of saying I could totally deal with them saying, magic is science and blah 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 blah. But it kind of for me it takes away the mysticism of Doc Strange by making it saying it's all science.
It could, and it also opens up the problem of, I mean, his foes exist in the magical universe of things. I mean,
Yes.
he fights fucking like Cthulhu monsters and shit like that,
Mhm.
reality threatening monsters. So how do you explain those characters? That's one of the really interesting aspects is how they're going to get into it. Now, Doctor Strange isn't confirmed for Phase 3, but it seems highly likely that's going to happen.
I honestly would like Black Panther more than Doc Strange right now.
And Black Panther's the other franchises they're sort
Mhm.
of talking about. There was a rumor at one point. Oh God, I can't remember his name. He was in Draft Day recently. I'm trying to remember his name. Hold on, let me see if I can't pull it up real quick. Vamp for me.
Vamp. Well, the reason why I mentioned Black Panther is one, he's an Avenger, which Doc Strange is not. Doc Strange is traditionally not an Avenger for one.
Mm-hmm.
Two, they mentioned Wakanda a few times, so it kind of does lead into that, and they've also mentioned vibranium a lot. That's what Cap's shield is made out of, and where does vibranium come from? Wakanda.
Chadwick Boseman. He was also in 42. He played Jackie Robinson in 42.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard that his name's been linked to it, and when he was asked about it like very quickly at the end of an interview for Draft Day, and he was kind of just like, "Oh man,
Bye.
no comment." Essentially, what people were comparing it to was the exact same way that Paul Rudd reacted when people asked him if he was playing Ant-Man before that was announced, and he was just like, "Oh no, there's no way that's happening, no comment."
He's kind of like, that's cool, bye.
So I mean, along with this, Captain Marvel being the first female character, this would be the first black lead hero in a movie since Blade. And this would be the first one since that sort of renaissance of superhero movies has come about.
Yeah, and Black Panther's a very interesting character too. When it's not the animated show made for BET, because that was really bad. No dig on the network at all. It was just a bad show.
Yeah.
But
doesn't really seem like the kind of network that you'd want to put superhero content on.
An animated superhero show.
Yeah.
Where he like beats up Captain America.
He just goes around beating up all the white heroes.
There's an entire episode where like Captain America is like storming Wakanda and Black Panther beats him up. And it's like, okay.
Some people are very strong in that episode.
I was just like, okay, that's a cool show. But
But
for instance, in Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which is heavily influenced by the MCU, that he's a main character in that show, and he's awesome in that show because he is the prince of a very wealthy nation, and he's able to do things. He's like got the wealth of Tony Stark and daggers that explode.
I mean, he's one of those characters I know very little about just because my exposure to him, based on the media I've seen, has been a little bit low. I mean,
I can imagine.
I haven't read the comics, but I play a lot of the games, and I've seen a lot of sort of the Wikipedia entries and all that sort of stuff. I've read about it just through everything except comics. And Black Panther never comes up a whole lot, but I mean, I could have said the same about Thor. So this is one of those characters, one of those franchises I'd really like to see because I'd love to see more about that universe, that side of things, and see what Black Panther's like as a character. Because from what I understand, he can be, just as you said, extremely awesome and very, a very interesting character. So I want to see what they can do with that. And then, maybe that's a new franchise they put into Avengers 3, in that phase 3 area. And there's even talk that they may look to up their movie count because as it is right now, we get a pretty solid 2 movie per year deal from it.
Yep.
And there's talk that maybe they might consider upping that to 3 a year.
Which is almost too much.
It's definitely too much in the extent that everyone else is now also looking to update their count. We're looking at getting 2 X-Men, 2 Spider-Man, maybe 3 Marvel, and possibly a DC every year as well. It's a lot of superhero movies to take in.
Yeah, they're going to end up causing overall fatigue, or it'll cause everyone to just watch the Marvel Studios ones and not watch the other scrub movies.
Well, it's tough because a lot of people who see these movies aren't aware of all the big differences between them. They're not going to be aware which one off, first glance.
Yeah, they're like, why isn't Wolverine in Ultron?
I guarantee there are plenty of people out there who their significant other has been like, why isn't Spider-Man in Avengers? And you're just like, well, because they sold off the rights a long time ago, and then they got their studio running, and they don't have the rights back, etc., etc.
Lots of et ceteras on that one.
Basically.
But it's all going to pan. I mean, the thing is when it comes to these movies coming out, we've also got Fantastic Four coming out as well. Don't forget about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's all going to based on how well they do. Now, Spider-Man is probably going to do good. Yes. I don't know how good it's going to do.
It should do decent.
It's getting okay reviews. I don't know if it's being reviewed better than the first Amazing. Because I think last time I looked, it was either in the 70s or the 60s on Rotten. And I haven't seen what Box Office Mojo is projecting for it. But I can toss out a ballpark. It's going to at least probably pull 150 this weekend.
Okay. I thought you meant total. I was like, good Lord, that's low.
No, since it's technically the first summer movie, although I'd say Cap was really that. It's probably going to pull in 150 depending on, a few other factors. If Cap gets a resurgence or not, because this past weekend was the first weekend that it wasn't number one.
Yeah, after about a month, a solid month of being number one, it finally dropped. It still made a good amount. It's just a little below 650 right now, which I think is far beyond what they expected for Cap.
It passed internationally Thor too.
Yeah, which is huge.
Being the fact that the thing I found really funny, I was looking at those totals was it's Avengers, Iron Man 3, then Thor, then Cap, and I think Iron Man 2's in there. Mm-hmm. And they're all in the 600s except for Iron Man 3 and Avengers, which are double.
Yeah, I mean those movies just did so disgustingly well. It's not even funny, especially overseas.
Oh God.
But I mean Cap, I don't think anyone's expecting it to make that much money, especially overseas to make as much money as it has. I mean Captain America's in the name. It's just a harder sell for those countries, but it's made a huge profit over there. So I'm sure.
It's one very big thing that Marvel is very, very much so looking forward to the third one coming out.
Oh God, that's the moment this movie did as well as it did and got as well received as it did, they were just looking at that Batman versus Superman date, really the same thing, and it was just like, oh, we can stand toe to toe with them now. I could
actually. Well, Marvel has come out and said that they are probably going to move.
Probably, but definitely.
But the thing is, I can just imagine them going, they're like, we're coming with Batman, Superman. They're like, fuck. because no matter what, either side, being for DC, being against DC on this one,
Murder.
it's gonna hurt both movies.
They'd murder each other.
They're too similar of an audience. You've got the Captain now has a pedigree, and it's got mass anticipation to the third one after the second one was as good as it was. It's going to be coming off the high of Avengers 2, which is going to bump it even further. But coming up against the first time Batman and Superman are in the same movie together, yikes.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a situation where if they had been there, one of them's going to move, no matter what. But it's still one of those things now where, Marvel beforehand was probably going to have to be like, we'll just, quietly move. But now they could be like, maybe we won't. I mean, they're going to, but they could definitely at least on premise be like, look, we've got a strong fucking franchise now too. This maybe hasn't made Batman money, but this has made a pretty fucking healthy penny. It's made more than Man of Steel made.
Yeah, it did. And now here's the fun part. I imagine that they're going to move after Batman Superman for one reason, so that it doesn't cut into their money.
Yeah.
They can start cutting into Batman money, and if Batman Superman isn't a great film, it's going to tail off fast.
Yeah, I mean, once the reviews come in for that, that's going to be a really crucial thing about it. So.
Yeah, if it's not a great movie, and let's say Cap 3 comes out like 3 weeks after that, it's going to straight up murder that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they would have to move after, not before it, because otherwise the reverse is going to happen. Although I can imagine with the same creative team that made Cap 2 making Cap 3, the odds of it not being a great movie are pretty damn low. So it would just end up hurting its overall numbers, then maybe bounce back, but monetarily speaking, after Batman and Superman's the better play.
Yeah. And we'll probably do it this episode because I think we could probably do an entire episode alone on it. But we really do need to talk about the future of Captain America. Maybe like a next episode, because there's a lot to look into on that. Like the main reason why all this talk is coming about new franchises is because with Avengers 3, we're probably going to see a bit of a close in the chapter of what we currently know about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's already known to be the last movie for Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. Chris Evans has talked, quite a lot about how he's going to take a break from acting. That's the last movie he's scheduled for. What his role in that may be, we don't know yet. And it's also the last movie, I think, on script for Chris Hemsworth, though he could resign. I don't think he's stated anything too publicly about it, but it's pretty likely that he may also kind of take a break from this and look into doing something else for a while. So Marvel's going to be losing a lot of those characters that sort of been in there, and they could recast them. But I think what they want to do at this point
is build a second team.
Is introduce new characters who can fill in those spots. So that's why we might be seeing someone like a Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, or a Doctor Strange, or a Black Panther coming in to help fill these ranks back in. I mean, they'll also have Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, presuming they don't die in Avengers 2.
Doing whatever there is they're doing.
Yeah, Ant-Man presumably will be in Avengers 3 as well.
Yes.
So, I mean, they have characters to start bolstering up these ranks, but they're looking at these new properties to say, who else can we add into this? Who can we make to be the next Iron Man? Because before this, Iron Man was not the big character in Marvel.
He was considered like C-list.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was not a side character, but he was like middle tier in there.
C-list is a good way of putting it. He's a C-list character.
Yeah. So after that movie and how Robert Downey Jr. just completely stole the show with it, he became one of the biggest characters in their universe now. And I think that's what Marvel's looking for now. Like, we need the next Iron Man. We need to find a character. We just get the right fucking actor or actress to play him or her, and we just create something so big that people just fall in love with it all over again. And they're finding that slowly with these characters. I mean, I don't think anyone was really all that interested in Captain America before this, but I think after seeing the past two Captain America movies, people are like, this Chris Evans is a fucking entertaining dude. I mean, I want to see more of this Captain America. So I think that they've got a lot of potential to work with here, and I'm really excited to see what happens at Comic-Con, what gets announced, what the lineup's going to look like.
And let's just say, for the record, the roster of Avengers over the years is fucking huge.
Yeah.
So there is, I mean, Doc Strange is almost never in that.
He's dealing with bigger issues and shit.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you guys are fighting off an alien invasion. Okay, I'm trying to stop the universe from ending over
Yeah.
here, so I'm gonna go deal with that. So Doc tends to be a guy who will like come in and be like, zap zap. Okay, I'm out. Or like a guy they console with, or a guy they talk to, as opposed to a team member. But that's exactly what Ant-Man is. Ant-Man's a team member. The Marvels tend not to be because cosmic. They deal with the cosmic issues,
Mm-hmm.
which are their own can of worms. But Black Panther is definitely a member. Not a founding member, but he's one of the members.
Yeah, Wasp is a pretty heavy member in that, and there's talk that the female lead in Ant-Man might end up becoming Wasp, which no one's confirmed yet. But the last I've heard is Evangeline Lilly, who played Kate in Lost, and I don't remember the elf chick's name from Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug, but she played her as well.
I didn't. As long as Michael Douglas doesn't hit her, I'm perfectly fine with it.
It's just like, hey, you're 30 years younger than me. Go get a sandwich.
Just like slaps her, and then she becomes tiny and hides under her couch while he's completely drunk trying to murder her, which is in one of the first issues of Ultimates. Good job, Mark Miller.
So sad. No, probably that won't happen. I'm not a huge fan of Kate from Lost. Angela Lilly, she's played two characters. I've kind of just been like, ugh, but I'm willing to give her a shot if she does end up being a character in that.
Yeah, and let's be honest with comic fans here about Wasp. She doesn't do much. She kind of stands and goes zap zap zap, and the bad guys are like, "Ow, that kind of made my eyes sting."
Why does this hurt? You're so small.
And that's kind of it. That's all she really does. She just kind of pesters people.
We have to have an entire episode on Ant-Man too once that starts moving.
Well, I know my Pym. I don't know my Scott.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, just even thinking about the movie, how it's going to go and things like that.
But
it's a lot to talk about.
I'm still trying to think of anybody else who they could toss into the Avengers. Be like, here you go. Daredevil makes sense. Luke Cage makes sense.
Well, that's the thing. The Marvel television shows are going to be starting in 2015. Daredevil's kicking it off, and then we're going to be getting one from each series. Now, they're eventually going to lead into the Defenders, who are going to join into it and be all four of them combined into one show. The question is, how long is it going to be the break between each one? I'm presuming it's going to be like a regular TV season between these. I don't think.
Well, don't forget, this is Netflix.
This is Netflix, so it's all going to come out at once. But I mean, they're still going to need, I presume. I don't think they're filming them separately. Like, I think they're filming them all on the same studio team with each one.
Correct.
So it's probably going to take time once one finishes for them to get the next one running. So I don't know if it's going to be done by 2018, which is when Avengers 3 is going to be out. I mean, it's going to have to be done before 2017 probably, because that's when they're going to start shooting Avengers 3.
Oh ho. I was just looking through Avengers rosters while you were saying that, and I completely forgot in the 60s the second roster was when they tossed in Black Panther into there and the Vision.
Vision
in Ultron. But it says right in here, Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, I mean, that's how...
I completely forgot that they were roster members.
Yeah, well, that's how they're in the movie, because, they're technically mutants, and that's owned basically exclusively by Sony for the X-Men properties. But because those two characters were Avengers as well, there exists some loophole within that contract, and that's what allows Marvel to use those two characters. So basically, Marvel can use Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch as Avengers, but they can't reference mutants, Magneto, or anything that would relate to the X-Men universe between those characters. Whereas Sony or Fox can use those two characters, but they can never reference the Avengers.
Yeah.
So basically, that's how those two different universes are both going to have Scarlet Witch and a Quicksilver in them.
I'm right now because I'm still going through these fucking lists because what you're saying I've heard 85 billion times.
Yeah.
I'm like going through this. I'm like, oh, so one roster had Ronan, the Accuser, as one. Like, the fuck? How was Ronan the Accuser? No.
Such a good buddy of the Avengers.
Yes, Ronan. Oh, this Ronan, the Samurai Ronan, who was Blade at one point, I guess. Okay, Marvel, I've stopped paying attention.
And that's another one that's interesting to think about if it comes back. I think Marvel has the rights to Blade back again, don't they?
They do, but I don't know how they would tackle Blade.
I mean, vampires are definitely hard to fit into this grounded universe, but they can
unless they toss in Mobius, and That'd be weird.
Hey, maybe, you never know. I don't know. I'm spitballing here a little bit.
And in my head, I'm like, oh god, the Toss and Mobius means to do Frankencastle. One of the dumbest things I've ever read in my entire life. Zombified fucking the Punisher.
Yeah, it could be a little bit silly. I don't know. I like spitballing with a lot of this stuff though, because that's like one of the things I find so fun about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is kind of just theorizing everything like that. I think.
And the fact that they pull liberally, God, alcohol, they pull from all these different sources that they've had over the years. They do not just pull from 616, which is interesting. And sorry, I mentioned 616. That is the main comic universe, is Marvel 616, which is also why that's the name of the ship in Shield, Agents of Shield. Trivia.
Nerd.
Well, every time they call it, what do they call it? They call it
Shield
616. Well, the name of the call sign for the ship is 616, which is that's a reference to. But so they will pull from the ultimate line. Thank God the right parts of the ultimate line, because that thing got fucked, then unfucked, and I think fucked again. God damn it. I'm sorry. As a comic fan, I read Ultimatum, and that made me stop reading comics for like 4 years because it was that bad.
Yeah, I've heard there's been some really bad points in Marvel's comic history.
Well, Ultimatum was because the way the Ultimate line was built was it was to start a new universe so they could start new comics to bring new people in, which is a smart idea. So they had a new Avengers series, they had new X-Men, Spider-Man, etc., Fantastic Four, and they eventually just completely fucked it in the ass with the Ultimatum, where they murdered like all the mutants and stuff.
I heard there wasn't there something where it's now like kind of like almost a divide in Marvel itself, whereas there's certain properties that are just garbage now, like X-Men, basically anything related to it's just crap now. But there's a lot of there's like almost another side to Marvel that's picking things up. Like I heard Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel right now are really good. Like,
Guardians was really good.
Yeah, I've heard there's like different parts of it. I'm not much of a comic reader. I'm trying to like kind of get into it here and there. It's just a little bit of an expensive hobby for me right now.
Yeah, and I'll be doing my part of recommending a few books here and there, some trades that are worth reading. And because I'm a really big fan of the standalone stories, where it's like, here's a character, we're putting him into this, and it's kind of awesome. Or the better versions of the big crossover ones, the big event comics, because those are crapshoot. Like, Civil War was good-ish. Making Tony Stark the villain was kind of cool. And World War Hulk, was really rad, too, because I finally finished reading that, where Hulk gets pissed and gets revenge on everybody.
I have actually seen the movie for Planet Hulk.
Yeah, and the results of that lead into World War Hulk, because people don't know what Planet Hulk is, which was rumored to be the Hulk movie. They were going to do a Planet Hulk movie, which is so incredibly out there that I don't know how they could actually make that. Because it's like, there's Guardians out there, then there's Planet Hulk.
Yeah, well, they might be able to make it work. Depending on how Avengers 3 kind of goes down.
It'd be also a lot of CG in that movie.
There's a lot of theorizing to it. Well, I mean, that's another thing people have rumored for Phase 3 is an Incredible Hulk movie, because Hulk was far and away the dark horse character in Avengers. You know, kids loved the crap out of him because he was big, he was strong, and he threw Loki around.
Smashes.
He smashed everything. Everyone loved Hulk, but we didn't get a new Hulk movie. And they've said Hulk's kind of a little bit of a different character to work as a solo project, but they've got a big cast growing of characters that they could start putting in to at least help supplement a Hulk movie. And it's even getting to the point where we may not see Hulk or Captain America movies per se, as we'll see storylines that are now going to be presented as movie. Like, so instead of saying Captain America 3 Civil War, you'll get a Civil War movie that has Captain America and Iron Man and all these characters. It's just off the top of my head, just a random example.
But damn it, they're going to nuke Stratford, Connecticut again. Damn it.
But I mean, that's like an idea of something that may happen as we stop getting character movies so much, but we get event movies instead.
Which I would kind of be in for. It'd be like, hey, we're not going to get, as you said, like, we're not going to get Cap 3, but we're going to get, like, A really good example of that would be with the current roster we got tossing up here, House of M,
Yeah.
which would be a very
I
interesting
mean,
one.
they can't do it too much because I mean the
Nope.
mutant aspect can't exist, but
But it would be that'd be the kind of the closest thing, like, oh, we're bringing Scarlet Witch, so let's do her big event comic. But Planet Hulk, I just think is a little too out there. But as I was going to explain about it is, a bunch of the heroes go, Hulk's an asshole. Let's get him out of here. He's been destroying too much shit. So they send him to a planet. He becomes king of that planet, pretty much. He wins in the gladiatorial arena, gets a bride, and then she gets murdered by, memory serves, the ship that brought him there.
oh, that's just sad.
So he gets incredibly pissed off and goes back to Earth and beats up all of the Illuminati, as they were called, to get his revenge. And then, like, eventually in a death match puts, like, Mr. Fantastic versus, like, Captain America. It's like, fight! It's like, oh, Hulk.
DC right now, as we know, is slowly building up towards the untitled Batman versus Superman movie. It's, you know, Man of Steel 2, quote unquote, but everyone and their mom has been announced for this movie. You've had Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Just recently, Victor Stone, aka Cyborg, has been announced for the movie. You know, Flash has been quasi-confirmed for it. There's a theory, rumor going around that Aquaman may be in the movie. There's even a rumor that Matt Damon might play Aquaman to just get that Ben Affleck, Matt Damon bromance going again. I don't buy that for a second.
Also, isn't Nightwing supposed to be in it too?
Nightwing's supposed to be in this movie. There's, you know, everybody is supposed to be in this movie essentially at this point. And recently, it was announced that Zack Snyder is going to be moving on. He's going to be directing the Justice League movie that is inevitably going to follow this because fucking everybody's already in Man of Steel 2.
Pretty much got your Justice League already. You're missing like one or two people because, well, except for Green Lantern, because I can imagine DC and Warner want to stay away from that as far as they can.
Yeah. Martian Manhunter hasn't been confirmed either, so maybe they're just like, let's just fucking not deal with the space shit right now.
Yeah, space shit doesn't sell. Nobody likes space.
Yeah, nobody's gonna
like
the
guard's
space.
Just gonna kill it. It'd be hilarious.
They're like, shit, make a Green Lantern movie. They're like, last one failed, sir. Shit, do it again. Get Ryan Reynolds to do this one.
Make it about Red Lanterns. Actually, no. Yeah, make it about all the red ones. They're cool.
Make it Blue Lanterns. Everyone likes blue.
No,
Captain America's
those
blue.
Are about. You want to do Blue Lanterns? No.
Yeah, they're super lame, aren't they? They're like the pacifist ones.
They're like I can't remember what blue represents.
They're like hope. Isn't it like clarity or something?
It's like either that or hope. Something.
I thought, isn't green supposed to be hope?
Will.
Okay, maybe it is hope then. It's something like fucking Zen meditation.
But I mean,
bullshit.
Come on, if you want
the Lanterns are kind of lame to me.
Except for the red ones, they're about rage.
They're all kind of lame to me. I guess there's a whole aspect of Marvel. It's not the same thing, but it's, you know, sort of like the Space Police and the Nova Corps. But I mean, like
the Guardians of the Galaxy are all about, and they're fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know the Lanterns. Anyway, so we know those two movies are coming out from DC. And I guess right now they've said that there are 11 movies in production for DC to create.
With varying levels of being included in the same universe or not.
Yes. So we know of Man of Steel 2. We know Justice League. Apparently on the docket now are a Shazam movie. It's not related to Justice League, though. So whether or not... Was it Billy Madison? Madison? Something like that?
Something like that.
Whether his character will appear in those movies or not exactly clear.
Probably not.
Metal Man is getting a movie. I don't know who Metal Man is. Isn't he that's a Mega Man villain, I believe.
I don't know DC.
100 Bullets and Fables. Those are like outright announced. I think
Fables is a weird one.
There's a Sandman movie as well.
Sandman's rad though.
So
there's also the rumor that Guillermo del Toro wants to do the Dark Justice League.
Yes, there's a Justice League Dark potentially in the works. I think
Constantine and a few other guys in that. I can't remember them off the top of my head.
I think is in there as well.
Yeah.
There's a potential for a Preacher movie. DMZ. I'm not actually sure what DMZ is, but the thing that you may not hear at any point in this is a Wonder Woman standalone movie.
Or probably us going, yay!
DC is still not ready to commit to a Wonder Woman movie. It sounds like what they're doing now is they're like, let's see how Justice League goes before we give Wonder Woman her own movie, which to me, it's ridiculous. I cannot comprehend this idea. You're like, I don't know if it's going to make money. Thor made money. All right. He's proven that you can take a mythological figure and put it in this comic book world and have it make sense. And if they're like, well, women won't like it, I'm just like, Frozen made $1 billion. It is a movie where the protagonists are two female characters, and it made that much money because it was fun and entertaining and everyone wanted to see it. It's like 53 fucking percent of the population are women. You can appease, you can appeal to them and you're still going to make money. I do not get the notion that they're just like, I don't
And they
know.
had the perfect person who wrote a script and they didn't like it.
Yeah. I don't know if we ever heard anything from that guy.
No, I don't think Joss Whedon ever made anything after that.
No, definitely nothing comics related. That was incredible.
That made billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It baffles me that they like this might be like the shit DC's doing wrong every week. I do not get why you have not just announced a Wonder Woman movie. There's no reason to be like, even if for some reason Justice League doesn't like wow your expectations, it's going to make its money back. It's the Avengers.
To give them a little bit of credit on this, it's probably because like didn't they just do a Wonder Woman show and that bombed like a motherfucker?
Well, the Woman TV show never even made it to air.
That's right.
And it was such a flop there that they didn't do it. And I can understand, pre Marvel Cinematic Universe success having those reservations. But you've seen Marvel do it. The only reason you are pushing every character possible into this movie is you're like, we want an Avengers. If that same logic applies, why would you not push Wonder Woman? Like being like, I want to make a Thor movie that makes even more money because it's going to be the only movie right now that females are going to, or women are going to be like, that's me. I can finally have a character on the screen I can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
It baffles me that they don't do it. It's just like every week where I hit them just like, we definitely want to do one, but we don't know if it's going to work. It's just like you just hate money. It's the only
fact that right now, if they said we are making a Black Widow movie, I'm in.
I mean, I loved what we got of her Captain America 2. I could definitely see enjoying a movie with just her. Scarlett Johansson's great in that.
She killed it.
I mean, yeah, she was great. They've talked about doing a Black Widow standalone movie. Put Hawkeye in it to add a little bit of extra substance into that movie. Kind of
have someone for her to play off of.
Yeah, something like that. They've definitely got the strength to make a movie like that work. And there's other characters. Scarlett Johansson's been great as Black Widow. We're going to be getting Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch. We're getting these characters. The thing that I really just want to see is a standalone movie, based off of that character. DC has easily, without a doubt, the most name recognizable female hero in existence, and they're just like,
I don't know.
It's so hard. How do we make her depressing and lame like Superman was?
They can only make every character Batman so much.
Yeah. And I've heard every sort of possible excuse, like, well, the outfit will never work. You don't have to go with, the 1980s, leotard outfit. I mean, I've seen more recent images of what she looks like, where she's basically
wearing armor.
Yeah, she wears like the gladiatorial kind of outfit. It's got like the long skirt with like the, I don't know what you call them, like fucking kind of like cleat plates that kind of go down to the knees. You can make them look like a character from any of the 9 billion generic BC European movies that come out any sort of year. You make them look like a Game of Thrones character. That's huge right now. Just take something. Like, I don't understand why they don't have something working on this. It's baffling to me right now.
And I always hate the argument about the costume isn't great. We just had a man running around in the American flag, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, you can make this work. The problem is I don't think they're going to.
No.
I mean, the fact of the matter that Gal Gadot is playing their Wonder Woman is bad enough.
Yep.
So, I mean, they're already kind of working this notion like this probably isn't going to be too great.
Yeah, she looks fine in that outfit. Go strut in front of the camera a little bit. You'll be fine.
Like, that's my concern. Like, I know she has the Israeli military practice, but the fact of the matter is she can't act worth a damn based off of what we've seen, and she's way too thin for the role. So, I mean, DC can always surprise me, and I want them to. I'd love to see a Wonder Woman movie be a success, but definitely the pieces in place aren't shaping up like it's going to be. So
they don't have history of surprising us with good things.
no, not really. Especially when it's clear they're just trying to play catch up at this point.
They are, and they're trying to make an Avengers without earning it. They
Mm-hmm.
have not earned doing this,
Well, I mean,
and
I've heard the alternate stance. I mean, even Joe Quesada on Fat Man Bathan discuss when Marvel started its plan of doing these standalone movies that would lead into Avengers. Everyone thought that was a stupid idea. You'd start with the big one, then make your small projects off of that. I can understand the logic of saying let's get a Justice League movie and then make our standalone movies based
well,
on that.
there's one major problem with doing that though, and it's something that these movies that led up to the Avengers solved, is they have to set up these characters. And what you're going to be doing in Batman Superman is you're going to be setting up these characters and murdering that movie, because it's going to be like 2.5 hours long with a few fights, and then, hi, I'm Wonder Woman, here's my backstory. Hi, I'm the guy who's either going to be Cyborg right now or Cyborg later, here's my backstory. And that's what they're going to have to do, or they're going to be saving or doing half in that movie and half in Justice League, because they're going to have to explain who these characters are, as opposed to them having a movie to explain who these characters are, so we know what they are going into there, so they can get to the story of that movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much going to be going on in this movie in Batman versus Superman that you're
They
like,
have to reintroduce Batman too, because he's a new Batman.
yeah, new Batman. You gotta put Lex Luthor in it because you've already made a big deal that Jesse Eisenberg, or
Oh,
that was
God.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, it's Jesse Eisenberg.
He's gonna be playing Lex Luthor.
Ooh.
We're gonna get Wonder Woman in here somewhere. Even if these are just small little cameo bits, there's still gonna have to be time spent on it. And you're just like, there's a lot to do. There's so much going on. And you could say I could understand the logic from DC to a certain extent of announcing these characters, because you want to create as much buzz for this movie as possible, especially when you got a little bit of a negative publicity off the Ben Affleck news and the Jesse Eisenberg news and all that. You want to just get as many people excited about this as possible. So even if these would be cool Easter eggs, you just want to announce them so everybody will go see it.
Yes.
I can get that. But like just seeing all these little bits and pieces coming into this movie, just like there's so much to this. I don't see how this is going to work. And I've said the same thing about Marvel movies in the past, but they've proven me wrong on that regard. So I'm able to trust when Marvel makes a weird decision like this. Something on paper just sounds strange. DC hasn't done that, especially with Man of Steel. Man of Steel kind of showed exactly what they're looking for.
Showed their hand.
Yeah, we want to go with this very particular tone we've already established through Batman works for audiences. We're going to put that through. We're going to get a stylistic director who's going to show he's going to be stuck on that style. And we're going to have, they have some great people in that movie already. Michael Shannon was great as Zod. I like Amy Adams a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
But,
what's his name as Superman was pretty good.
Yeah, he was very good.
I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he was decent at it.
As more things come out, I'm just like, maybe your casting isn't as great as I thought originally, because there's certain pieces to this I'm very skeptical on.
I mean, when everyone said Ben Affleck is not great casting, I think that I said that as well, but I say for a very specific way. I think he'd be a great Bruce Wayne. I don't see him as Batman.
Yeah. And I mean,
kind of like George Clooney.
Yeah, George Clooney I still say is one of the better Batman or Bruce
Waynes. Yeah, he killed it as Bruce Wayne. He was a great Bruce Wayne because he actually is Bruce Wayne in real life.
Yeah, essentially. But I mean, I'm not excited for Batman versus Superman.
I'm excited to see that train wreck.
I don't like. I know it's funny to always be like they're fucking up, but I really don't want it to be a colossal fuck up. I'd like to see it be entertaining, but I just
I'm going to be having that. I'm going to be saying something similar to that every week, so everyone can understand that I'm not just straight up hating on it. I'm saying I'm looking forward to the train wreck, hoping that they don't do a train wreck. Because if it ends up being great, that's awesome. I actually have a lot of respect for a lot of DC does, other than rebooting their entire franchise and murdering one of my favorite characters. You did a great job fucking up Batgirl. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And like their animated movies, they show that they actually know what they're doing. For instance, fucking Under the Red Hood, phenomenal piece. Try to think. Crisis on Two Earths was really good. I mean, you've got James Woods playing evil Batman. That's amazing. And they know what they're doing when it comes to that. Bring those people and make them make your movies. They know what they're doing. They know the right things to adapt and to what to take and to what to use. Because, like, I did not see bones of much of Superman's comics in that movie.
Oh no, it's a terrible Superman movie.
It's an
It's
awful Superman
terrible.
movie.
It's actually, if you get the chance in that Joe Quesada podcast, he even makes a rib at that movie at one point, where he's just like, "What do you think was like the big separating difference between Super Man of Steel and Winter Soldier?" I was like, well, I guess I could have had Captain America break Bucky's neck at the end of that scene. You're just like, yeah, I mean that's the big difference between them is Captain America did obviously in
Captain
that
America
moment.
was a better Superman than Superman was.
Yeah, and that's insane that Superman was just that bizarre of a character. And I know all the fucking theories that have gone out. Like, Superman was supposed to be that way because they're setting up the next Superman movie with Lex Luthor and all that excuses. But
Yeah, because you want to set up a villain by torpedoing your hero.
yeah, I mean that's not the good way to set this up, especially not the extent of which the damage was done. You can make Lex Luthor very convincingly be the anti-Superman character if all Superman does is blow up a building, through the conflict, not an entire city. All he had to do was fight through that fucking IHOP.
That was it.
Was enough for Lex Luthor to be like, Superman's a menace. All he needs to do is that one shot of the fucking IHOP and be like, do you want that happening to your IHOP?
Do you want your pancakes to be ruined by this man?
Yeah, he flew right through that guy's blueberry stack. He didn't get to eat it. He has to pay for it, but he didn't get to eat it.
Yeah. Did Superman pay for his food?
Fuck no.
Oh, no. Wait. He's not called Superman. He's the alien. I forgot.
Yeah. It is what it is.
One of these days, I need to rip that movie a new fucking asshole. But I have to watch it again is the problem.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
The last thing I'm going to say about DC on this whole subject is that if DC pulls this off, kudos.
Yeah.
You did a great job there. If they don't pull it off, you just gave Marvel more money. Good job.
Yeah. That'd be very, very interesting scenario we enter into when that comes out. We got 2 years before that happens, though. And that's plenty of time for Marvel to make a crap ton of money.
I forgot to mention that they're like a week or two into shooting, and they've already announced Justice League. Good job, guys.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely them saying like, look, it doesn't matter how much of a turkey this is, we're gonna make enough money off of it to be like, well, fucking Justice.
Well, I'll tell you this right now, unopposed against Cap, Batman Superman is probably gonna pull in $200-300 million.
Oh yeah, look,
easily its opening weekend. Easily.
I mean, it could potentially make $1 billion just off of name value alone. I mean, who's not going to see a Batman and a Superman?
I'm going to say base minimum. That thing would pull in $600 million. Just base. That's what that movie's going to earn. Like, so if they filmed that for $100 million, if that whole movie costs like $150 million, maybe $200 million, they're going to make that back easily.
Oh yeah.
So there's no. Oh, whenever I mention numbers, I usually mean domestic.
Oh, you think it's gonna make $600 million domestic?
Yeah,
that's a lot.
It's a big movie.
I know, but that's a lot for domestic.
I'm saying base. It's gonna pull in 600. Maybe we're on 5, but I'm saying that opening weekend is gonna be 2-3.
I'm not saying he'll back on here. I'm just saying that is a big number, so I'm very interested to see if it can make that much.
But I'm saying name alone. I mean, they're naming wise, it's gonna have Batman's name first, and then whatever they can do versus the Slash, because the Slash is usually traditionally what they do. Then Superman or Man of Steel or the Alien, whatever they're gonna fucking call them. I don't know. And then maybe like versus Wonder Woman, Nightwing, other people that are in this movie too. That's a really long name. I don't know if they're going to use that whole name though.
Oh, also Jason Momoa is going to be in Batman vs Superman as well, who he's going to play unknown yet. But he is. It sounds like that's confirmed that he's going to be in it.
Well, I guess that's because he didn't get to end up play Drax. So because he was up for Drax.
I think he'd be great as Drax.
Apparently.
I mean, I mean, I'm gonna make you sensitive. This is the guy from Game of Thrones, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this
He
is
played
Cal.
Conan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been great. He was great in fucking Game of Thrones. I'm shocked they went with Batista over him, but
Well, I know that you have the whole wrestling thing with that, but I was sold on him the moment that Jaimin Hansu said he does a really good job.
hey, I mean, if he's good, that's great. And apparently he's like, this character's mine, man. I feel like Drax is me, you know. So, hey, if it's good, it's good.
I mean, the 5 seconds of him screaming and swinging a sword looked pretty rad.
Yeah, I suppose. We'll see. He's the one aspect of Guardians of the Galaxy I'm a little bit still reserved on.
I'm just excited for Vin Diesel and Bradley Cooper buddy movie. That's gonna be hilarious. I still can't believe that's Rocket. Fuck, that's ridiculous.
Then we're getting a Rocket Raccoon movie before we're ever going to get a Wonder Woman movie.
Yes, we're gonna get a talking raccoon voiced by Bradley Cooper and a tree voiced by Vin Diesel.
Wonder Woman.
Saying "I am Groot" the entire movie.
It's too hard, man.
That was probably one of my favorite things that James Gunn talked about was when he did the voice work with Vin Diesel. Is that because the only thing Groot says is "I'm Groot." That's the only thing that Groot ever says. That's the only thing he knows how to say in English. And he said, well, when I was recording with Vin Diesel, he would actually ask, in what context am I currently saying I am Groot? And he would actually want to read the script, seeing what's happening and why he's saying I am Groot. Like, that's kind of cool.
But you ever, getting super off topic here, but did you ever see the special features for Iron Giant?
Yes.
Okay, there's like a scene where Vin Diesel's like in the voice actor's booth. He's like, it's, very tough. You got to prepare a lot for these roles. You go in here. There's a lot of emotion to put into this. All right, let's go. Rocks, trees. All right, hold on. I want to get another one of that.
And you know
Rocks,
what?
trees. It's just like.
And you know what? I'm looking at that going, that's actually really professional to go, I'm saying these two dumb things. And I'm like, no, that's not correct yet.
It is, but it is also, you're just like, maybe Vin Diesel's a little insane.
And you know what? He's the good kind of insane. I'm pretty pumped about that. That's awesome.
It's all good.
Yeah. And and then for some reason The Rock's in DC, which I'm so sad about. I'm sad about that. Because apparently he might be popping up in Batman Superman as well.
Who?
The Rock?
Oh, yeah. I'm disappointed The Rock's going to be in that because that dude can be a fucking amazing whatever he wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
But, hey,
maybe after that movie goes, he'll be like, oh, hi, Marvel.
Like, oh, hey, I get to be Black Panther's nemesis? Cool.
Sweet. Oh, man, that'd be bad.
All right.
Okay, so S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Let's talk about S.H.I.E.L.D. So, if you have not watched the last episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I thought I had a tab open so I could actually say the name of it, but apparently I closed that tab. Go me.
It's Nothing Personal is the episode title. This is episode 20.
If you have not been keeping up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this is going to have spoilers about this past episode and all the stuff post-Winter Soldier on. Because there's going to be obvious things listed in there. So if you haven't watched Winter Soldier yet, what the fuck's wrong with you? Go watch Winter Soldier.
I mean, I hope you have, because we've already spoiled like 3 things in Winter Soldier.
I actually don't think we have. One major one we did. But we haven't spoiled the big one.
I think at this point, if you haven't seen, if you're listening to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast
from the two of us, that's the only way you're finding out about this.
You haven't seen Captain America: Winter Soldier yet. I mean, come on.
Unless you have a really good reason why not to, like you're afraid of shields. So
you're just like, I hate the color blue, man. I just can't see it.
I'm allergic to shields.
Yeah.
So this past episode continues the whole Evil Ward saga, which I'm so happy about. And I'm so glad they almost completely diffused the whole he's going to be cured by the power of love. Thank God. Yes. Because, fun fact, we talked about previously, before we did this, because we did a little spitballing session, and we talked about how we really hope S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't do the hackneyed, the bad guy's cured by love. Which, aren't you glad they're not doing that?
Yeah, that was like the biggest fear you have is anytime there's a series where there's a male character who has a love interest with the female one. He starts to go down the bad side. You always get the anti-hero who, can redeem his ways. He's not so bad. They kind of set it up pretty early on that he was beyond repair. He was beyond redemption. He killed Victoria Hand. The last episode sort of cemented a little bit more after he killed Patton Oswalt's character.
And the fact that she straight up says to his face, "You're a serial killer. Get away from me."
I mean, yeah, they said it pretty clear that's not the direction they're going with, and I'm very glad that's not the direction they're going to.
He might have his change of heart because of her, but she's like, "I'm done with you. Bye."
No one's going to. They're never going to accept him back into the group.
Oh no!
This isn't like May when they were like, oh, she's she's betraying the group because she's feeding information about Coulson the Fury, but she's going to eventually get welcomed back into the group because they're going to find out even though she had her reasons for doing it, she's still ultimately trustworthy.
She didn't murder SHIELD agents.
Yeah, well, fucking Ward has already murdered 2 high-profile SHIELD agents in cold blood, so yeah, he's done. I mean, even if he turns against Garrett or something like that, he's either going to be killed or go away to jail for a very long time.
Yeah, he's going to be a new Fridge person guy.
Yeah.
But other than that, I actually felt in the end this didn't really do a ton other than move things a little bit closer to the finale. All it really felt like what this really did was put a few pawns into places. And that's kind of it. They also brought back the Menace of Deathlock, which was awesome. Because I think J. August Richards does a great job of it.
And that's one of the things, because I watched this SHIELD, consistently up until about the mid-season break. The episode where Coulson gets kidnapped and there's the big fire and, Peterson gets kidnapped as well. I stopped, I think, about there. I think I watched like 1 episode or 2.
So you missed the buildup of Deathlock.
I missed everything with Deathlock. I know nothing about him. I know he's a character in the comics. I know a lot of people are excited about him, but I don't know anything about him in this universe because I missed all of those episodes. I need to go back and catch them.
Yeah, because he's been their villain for a couple episodes, and he's a great villain. He was pretty good in this episode. He didn't get to do a whole ton, but he was just there being like, "I'm evil and I shot Lola." And yeah, I loved him in Angel. He was a great person in Angel, which is I of course when I saw J. August Richards going to be popping up in SHIELD, I'm like, yay!
Huzzah!
Yeah, well, I mean, Angel is still my favorite Joss Whedon show.
Damn, man, I don't know.
Angel's fucking awesome. It's like dark Buffy.
I mean, I never really watched it. My mom was a big fan, so I kind of saw a couple episodes here and there just based off of proxy.
I'm going to give you a list of things. You need to watch these.
I'm not going to be watching Angel.
I know. But yeah, so he does a great job of coming back in. We get to see Maria Hill pops up again, which is awesome to see her.
There's a Man-Thing reference.
There is a Man-Thing reference, and I kind of chuckled at that. They're like, and Man-Thing. I'm like, really? Man-Thing of all things?
I don't think they're going to do anything with him. I think his rights actually is still owned by someone else.
I think so, too. They just say, like, Man-Thing. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah. That's a fun little Easter egg.
It is. I liked that this episode was mostly focused on Ward and what him and Skye were up to with a little bit of Coulson.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt that the team has been a little too safe for like the past episode.
Yeah, I mean they last week they kind
2 episodes, sorry. 2 episodes. Last 2 episodes they were pretty safe.
Yeah, they got distracted with the breakouts from the Fridge. They had to deal with Blackout, who had
other than that.
But I mean, otherwise, I mean, even then, I mean, there was some good character development in that with Coulson, but there is one of those moments, just like shit's broken down in this universe for SHIELD.
Yeah, and you're off like, let's go have an adventure. And
yeah, like I want more anarchy for these characters because SHIELD don't exist anymore. All these characters are essentially acting rogue. So what's the ramifications that are going to come of this?
Mm-hmm. And they kind of talked about that towards the end of this episode too, where they're like, there is no SHIELD. It's like, you're doing whatever you're doing, and that's cool, but no, there's no SHIELD. You're on a vendetta right now, and that's fine, but no.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good. We that needed to be said, and I'm very glad it's been finally fucking said, because we didn't need another like oh, there's still some shield hopping around. It's like, in this country right now, no, there wouldn't be.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been like the ultimate cop out, is that they're just like, look, this part of S.H.I.E.L.D. can still exist. Like, that would have been just a fucking slap in the face if that's what they decided to do.
Oh,
But,
yeah. But
they're not going to go with that. I mean, I still expect something to happen at the end of the season where, Fury kind of appoints them to be like
Secret Avengers, probably.
yeah, some section that'll still work and operate for the interests of what S.H.I.E.L.D. would want to protect, but they have no resources like that anymore.
Yeah, and I think at one point we'll talk about the Secret Avengers. We probably won't go into what that is until the series is over, because they haven't said there's gonna be season 2.
Yeah, it's always being billed as the season finale, so I think they're anticipating a second season, but
Correct. I just think it's gonna be rebranded.
yeah,
Because I don't think you can call this Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. any longer.
no, it might have to go with something completely different. And
And
honestly, if you want to pull people into a show, putting the name Avengers in it's gonna be a good goddamn way of doing it.
that's why everyone is pretty much saying it's gonna become the Secret Avengers. Like, that's probably what Fury's gonna pop up in the last episode and go, "You are now the Secret Avengers." It's like, bam, there you go. You got your title drop. And that's gonna kill it. But I said we'll go into that another time. That's a really good comic discussion about what the Secret Avengers really are. But when it really does boil down to it, there's very, very good things in this episode. I like the fact that it was darker again. The comedy was still there, but where it should be, to lighten the mood instead of being jokes, 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 jokes. Which I think was it the last episode or the one before that was really joke heavy.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly a problem with the Marvel stuff in general. There's a very heavy tendency to put a lot of jokes in their movies, especially after Avengers with Josh Whedon, who's known for being particularly witty with his scripts.
You keep saying Josh.
Joss, sorry.
2 S's.
Whatever.
But and that is his style, is to toss a lot of jokes in there, and the fact that his brother is the showrunner on this, it feels very much like him. But the problem is that even he has that balance of you need to, like, his whole thing is, here's a joke, then something fucking horrible after it. That's what he does. It's like funny, 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 awful, 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 and we're getting joke, 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 and it's like, let's bring up the awful. And they kind of brought that into the last episode towards the end of it, where the whole build up of Sky finding out that Ward is Hydra. And then in this episode, there was some quips here and there, like Horst Coulson's like, "Are you gonna shoot if I walk out? Because I'm not gonna walk out." And that was good. You need to put the levity in there, just not too much of it. And I think the show's starting to learn that again. I'm done my little thing.
No, it's all good. No, I like Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. has gotten supremely better than it was when it first started the series. It's finding its roots. It's being different. It's not playing too safe. It's creating interesting dynamics that appeal to the comic book crowd, which is ultimately what they need to do with this sort of series. And I'm liking it. It's got that patented feeling of being a unique presence in media right now. It's got a cast that isn't full of just complete stereotype characters, especially after Ward went evil. Because Ward was he was everything people, I think, when they think of Captain America or Superman, think of just like, oh, it's a boring Boy Scout character. That was Ward to me, and nothing interesting about him otherwise. Even his backstory was just like, your brother beat you up. You're like, well, let me cry rivers of tears for you. So I'm glad that they've turned that around.
And I love that was like his person suit.
Yeah,
like,
that was
cool.
That was, as we found out, that's what he's now. That was all just a facade. He makes fun of that facade. He's just like, I fucking hate the Patriots. He's turned away all of that. So it's a really much more interesting show. Now, it's not great yet. I still don't think it's like must-see television necessarily, but it's definitely a nice supplement that exists in a different medium and kind of helps bridge the gap that exists between these Marvel franchise movies.
I just wish that maybe S.H.I.E.L.D. had started a little later and like maybe premiered like in January.
It didn't. It had a problem early on where it just felt disconnected from everything.
Mm-hmm.
Until eventually you got like
lots
the
of
Dark World
breaks.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that happens. It's a weird series too, in that there was like a 22 episode season to start with. That's or 24, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of episodes. I
It
mean,
was a
most
lot of
series,
episodes, and they took a lot of breaks.
yeah, for an
There,
hour long TV show too.
yeah. I mean, there was times like, oh, we played an episode. There was like one point where, like in between, I think it was October and January, there was like 2 episodes,
Mhm.
which is strange. It's like each month had an episode. That was about it. And it's like you're murdering your show doing this.
Yeah, it definitely had a little bit of an issue there, where it kind of had a weird pacing issue midway
Mhm.
through.
But it's finally building up. We're gonna have probably a fantastic finale. I love this idea of the agents on the run. Something I forgot to mention. I really like the fact that Sky called Word a Nazi. That
Mhm.
was really good. I'm glad that we brought up Nazis again. It's been how long since we've called Hydra Nazis?
Yeah, I mean, you almost will forget about that aspect with the the joke of like how Hydra going around, but
Yeah, they're Nazis.
yeah, I mean, it is. That's where their entire foundation is from. I mean, we got fucking Baron von Strucker coming up soon, so
Yep.
yeah, something to look forward to
Good
there.
times. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that Shield is musty, but I think it's like you should watch it. You should give it a try.
Give it a try, especially if you're into this Marvel Universe stuff right now. Just at least give it a little bit of a shot. If you need to, maybe start watching it once it becomes. I don't know if it's titled that way, but for a while it was being branded as
Uprising.
Uprising. If you can catch it when that starts happening, or around the time they start using Death
Tracks.
Clock.
I think it's about Tracks is the episode
Yeah,
where it
I mean,
got really good.
if you catch it around then, I think it gets a lot better, and especially if you can catch the episode that follows right after Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
That great episode.
Because if memory serves, Trax is around when they're hunting down. I think it's where Bill Paxton shows up for the first time.
Yeah,
Is around Trax, so that's a great place to start up. I mean, I'm one of those people that's like, if I'm going to watch a show halfway through, I'm going to, I'd rather watch the whole series. And I'm not going to lie, when they say, hey, by the way, Bill Paxton showing up, like, well, I guess I got to catch up.
we are reaching the point though. I don't know if you feel this way, but I definitely feel like they need to stop announcing these people, because anytime they announce them, I'm immediately like, he's a villain. Like it's happened so much now. Michael, like not Michael Douglas, but Robert Redford shows up in Captain America and villain. Guy Pearce in Iron Man 3 villain. Uh, I'm just anytime I see one of these guys, I'm just like,
Well, when it came to Killian, Killian was always a villain, anyways.
yeah,
In the Killian died in the Extremis book, but it's like, oh, I'm running AIM. I'm like, villain,
yeah.
because it's like that's what AIM does. Well, that and have MODOK, which, oh my god, if they actually somehow got MODOK into this shit, that'd be hilarious.
See, that's the sad thing. I wish Peter Dinklage was around so they could make him MODOK.
You know who would have been perfect for MODOK?
Peter Dinklage.
Patton Oswalt.
He would be.
Just a giant Patton Oswalt face going, nah. So he's crying now. But yeah, I say Shield is worth a watch. This last episode, good. It still has a little bit of room to pick up with, but I still say this is still the first season. You forget that.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that if it does get more seasons, it definitely could keep improving with time. So give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
If you're into the Marvel stuff, it's definitely not going to be a waste of your time.
So I think I might end this with a recommendation
Oh, okay.
of something to read, because I think that's something cool to do.
That is a good idea.
As someone who's read a lot of these books, and since we got Guardians of the Galaxy popping up, I'd actually recommend, if anybody wants to give them a read, the 2008 run of Guardians of the Galaxy is really good. It has that issue where they kind of mention some things that have happened, because it is a new run. It's a #1, but it's really worth reading. It'll give you some introductions into Groot, Rocket. Drax is in there. I don't know. I think Gamora is in there. She might not be, but of course Peter Quill is in there. But they've also got Adam Warlock is in there, and I forget the lady's name, but she's in there too. But It's got some awesome stuff in there. I mean, at one point, Peter Quill loses all of his clothes and is stuck in an alternate dimension and has to go quell an uprising in a space prison naked.
Now, how do I get this? Like, how would I go about getting it? Now, I imagine I can go on to Comixology and find it, but is there what was a trade paperback is what they
I
call it?
believe there is a trade of that, probably on Amazon is a good way of looking up trades. Or if you can go support your local comic book store, which is always a good thing to do. Unfortunately, for someone like me, my local comic book store is like an hour and a half away, so I don't patronize it too much.
Yeah, I was gonna say like there's one in the mall nearby me, but
Balls.
yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it even has trade paperbacks.
I'm actually gonna take a quick look and see what it actually runs on right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I mean, it's tough telling here. It
Well,
looks like
I can tell by the cover.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume One, Cosmic Avengers.
I believe that's part of the Marvel Now imprint. That's the new
Oh, okay.
run.
So that's not the same one you're referring to.
There we go. The complete collection, the one where it shows the guy jumping forward with the guns. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, complete collection, Volume One. That's it.
Yep, or it says if you go into there, it says collecting Guardians of the Galaxies 1 through 12. So the name of this on Amazon is Guardians of the Galaxies by Abnett and Landing. The complete collection, volume 1, is $24.91 for the trade, which is 12 issues, about $2 an issue, which is not bad. Really solid book, has some great jokes in there. I haven't bumped into my favorite picture ever of Peter Quill, where he's holding two guns. They're pointed at the screen, and he goes, "Hi, my name is Peter Quill. I'd give you a business card, but my hands are too full of guns right now." So, and by the way, everyone's saying Guardians is being too funny. Fuck you, that's how the books are. They're fucking hilarious because they're assholes.
That's the thing I like about it. Every Marvel movie has its own style. We have to get into that soon, like talking about that, because there's so many cool styles and there's so many more things I want to see from them. But yeah, I mean, definitely great recommendation. Right now, I might pre-order this because it actually. Ooh, that's strange. This title doesn't release until August 5th, 2014.
Oh, that's probably a newer version of the trade. Then let me see if there is.
Oh wait, here we go. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 Legacy Premiere Volume 1 has the same cover.
Okay, let me. Oh yeah, that would work.
And it looks like it has price. If you get the Kindle version, it's only $9. If you want the hardcover, you can get it for $160 because I guess they don't make it anymore.
No, that's why there's a new version coming out. And it's the first 6 issues. You can grab it on the Kindle. Bam, that's pretty rad, actually.
Can I read something that's on the Kindle on my PC, or do I need a Kindle device?
Oh, no, you can use it on your PC.
Cool, might do that then.
Do you have a tablet?
I don't have a tablet. I know. I'm fucking behind.
That's okay. I think there's actually a Kindle sale.
Ooh.
Gonna be they're
and
doing
I guess
that for Mother's Day.
I guess you can do it for the Android too, right?
Yes, you can.
There you go. Boom.
That's I have an Android tablet, so.
Boom, done and done. I have a phone at least, that'll work.
Yeah, Guardians is a really good book. I mean, if Guardians isn't your style and you want to read something that's pretty good, maybe Planet Hulk is a pretty rad book.
Hey, don't use all your recommendations up in one episode. You need to keep recommending.
I have a lot. Don't worry about that.
All right.
Because I'll usually give maybe one or two because there's usually some people like, I don't like the X-Men. So that's also pretty good. And then I'll eventually start introducing some Max stuff next week. So I guess we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Have a good one.
Yes.